LSU top UCLA 34-17. 34-17. LSU, a limp, typical, terrible, slow first half performance from LSU. And then another typical second half answer where LSU's defense puts down the clamp, the offense gets it all together, elevates their game, and the Tigers close the door. 34-17. LSU beat the Bruins, though, 34-17. What are your thoughts of this game? I've seen some extreme reactions to this game already, just in the last few minutes since the final whistle. I thought it was quite a muted game. You saw the atmosphere. A lot of people were affected by the heat and actually left the game. You saw almost 70% of the crowd at one point gone, especially that I believe it was the east side were just melting in the heat there in Tiger Stadium. Just Jacques Doucet has some footage of that. They're just basically melting there. But we'll wait for some people to get in here before we start the show proper. So just 1 second, and we'll give everybody a moment to get in here. If you have any comments, any opinions, anything you want to say, put it in that comment section. We're going to go through it all. LSU kind of limp to a victory here, 34-17. It wasn't pretty at all in the first half. In fact, it was infuriating in that first half what was going on with LSU. Still infuriating in the second half as far as some of the coverage bust still going on in the second half. But the defense cleaned it up for the most part, of course. Shut out UCLA in that second half. First time all season LSU have held a team under 20 points, as they should, against UCLA. And they made that happen. But it was no, even though there was an interception on the board from Jordan Gilbert, it was not because of the secondary why LSU were able to have that second half shutout and really put the clamp down in this game. It was all about that front pressure. It was all about Braden Swinson having another unbelievable game. Savion Jones having another unbelievable game. Parashon chipping in here and there. Whit Weeks having some really effective pressures that he may not get anything on the stat sheet for the pressures, but you saw some forced incompletions where the quarterback's throwing it away, or he's creating the sack for others, as you saw where he creates Parashon and Savion Jones sharing a sack there at one point because of his pressure. So you saw Blake Baker utilizing his blitzes and his pressures once again masterfully. And you saw Braden Swinson have an incredible game once again. 2 sacks tonight, 2 sacks for Braden Swinson, 5 sacks now on the season. And, of course, his second straight game with multiple sacks here already this season. He had a disappointing game against UCLA. He learns at halftime his sick grandmother has passed away. Since that moment, a switch has been flicked in him, and the season that I expected him to have, man, he's having it. Braden Swinson has been an absolute animal up front for LSU. He has been a brilliant force of ultimate defensive positivity of the kind that LSU greatly need this season. They need a front guy who's going to really just take the mantle and say, follow me, let's go. We're going to hit some people. And there was times that no one wanted to hit somebody there. There was a 3rd and 35 play where this guy threw a screen and the guy was going and no one wanted to tackle him. The guy gained 15 yards and he gained 20 yards. And no one's going to hit this guy. No one's going to tackle. When is someone going to tackle him? Are they going to let him get a 3rd and 35? What's going on here? They're playing like an ultimate prevent defense. It was so soft. And finally, Braden Swinson is the one who gets the guy down. Of course. It's just Braden Swinson's having an incredible season already. And some of the stats don't really bear that out all the time. But he's been unbelievable. Let's get some footage there of some of his exploits, because once again he forced a fumble as well. Once again, it was a big game-changing play. You saw LSU generating a lot of pressure tonight once again up front. What was it, 5 sacks from the last game? And tonight, how many sacks defensively from the front guys? Let's see. 2 sacks from Swinson, as we just said. A half sack and a half sack for Parashon and Savion Jones. The play that they shared, created by Whit Weeks' pressure. And then JVR Suggs with a sack that we'll show you right here. And then Dominic McKinley sneakily got a sack that many of you, including myself, may have missed on that first one. I can blame my toddler being a madman. Maybe you don't have that excuse, but I completely went underneath my radar when that happened. 5 sacks for the second straight game. Again, 5 TFLs for the Tigers. A game with a lot of good pressure again up front. You saw this play where Greg Penn III has a crazy strip where he rips the ball out before half. It would have really could have done some stuff for LSU. Calm down, buddy. Could have done some stuff for LSU. That would have been positive, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. LSU got the win in sloppy style. But here's the thing. What really matters to me more than anything here, obviously you get the victory. You get the victory at all costs. I know it's going to still be LSU finding themselves. It's still going to be LSU trying to get it together. Okay. That doesn't hurt my feelings or anything. There's the Suggs sack. What does kind of get into my craw a bit is the fact that you've got, once again, another potentially big injury to a key player here. You've already lost John Emery Jr., who looked like suddenly he was your number 1 running back against UCLA. Maybe he wouldn't have been your number 1 running back, but he was looking like a dude who's going to score at least 7, 8 touchdowns this season and be a key player. And we know what John Emery Jr. can do as a dual threat already. He did that in 2022, and he had such a damn good season whenever he played under Brian Kelly in 2022. Set the tone with some big touchdowns against Alabama, against Florida. Had some big moments that season. I believe scored 7 or possibly 8 touchdowns in 2022. Tears the ACL in 2023, of course, as you know. Has that showing, and you think he's going to be the guy, tears his ACL again in practice. And, you know, it sucks for him. And now you got Jacobian Guillory, who's worked his way up as a defensive tackle. You lose him as well. A guy who was ready to be that guy, and he wasn't standing out in such a huge way yet, but he was looking like he was going to be a guy who was going to play a lot of snaps, play a lot of football for you, and potentially have some big difference for you and be a game changer in some big games here. Instead, you lose him for the season. And now I don't want to jinx anything. I don't want to speculate on anything. We don't know completely what happened here. But Harold Perkins Jr. had this very strange hit where he just a thud kind of play where he went into the guy in a weird way where he checked him and just kind of went down and it looked like his forearm got screwed up. You know, one of those plays where your forearm gets messed up. Instead, you hear that his knee is the area in question. Okay, you hear that it's his knee in question that got hurt. And now you're freaked out. He's got the towel over his head. This could be all precautionary, okay? We're up 34-17. UCLA are lifeless. They're worn out in this heat. They don't have it for that second half. We barely have it ourselves, but we put this throat, the foot on the throat. Garrett Nussmeier was out of control tonight. Another 300-yard game. We are able to separate, right? But losing Harold Perkins for any way, shape, or form is terrible. And I know that you've got Southern Alabama coming up. You had 5-6 minutes of this game tonight that were left. Perhaps they were just taking him out for precautionary reasons. We know it's the knee that's hurt. It did look like it could be his shoulder. It did look like it could be a forearm. It did look like it could be possibly a concussion. It was none of those things. It was his knee. Confirmed to be a knee injury. So we don't know what's going on with Harold Perkins just yet. We'll talk to sources. We'll try and figure this thing out. But calm down, Seiji. Calm down. We will report only if it will assist the team, or if it's if it's season ending, it's not really going to hurt the team. They give an okay, fine. But if it's, a day-to-day, week-to-week sort of injury that he can play through, that he's going to gut through and see what can be done, I'm going to be very careful on how I report that information and what I report. Harold Perkins, he was almost anonymous tonight, wasn't he? Almost anonymous tonight. 2 tackles, 1 solo, and the 1 solo tackle is the one he got hurt on. Very strange. Look, Greg Penn actually led the way. He had the forced fumble that was taken off the board. I don't know how this could be overturned. I don't know how they could overturn that. The guy's knee, you never see the knee touch the ground clearly before the ball is touched. It looks very much like that ball is coming out before that knee hits the ground. And regardless, there's no evidence to overturn it either way. It's just a play that drives you nuts because LSU were out there trying to create some stuff on defense. They were out there trying to create some turnovers, trying to create some plays. Jordan Gilbert got the 1 pick. Savion Jones got the fumble recovery off the Braden Swinson strip sack here. But Yes, Chris Melder. Yes, Dominic McKinley did get a sack. Yes. I know. It came out of nowhere. It happens right before a Swinson sack, so it was kind of forgotten in a way. God, loud toy over there driving me nuts. It was I wouldn't. It's hard to say about this game how it makes you feel, because you understand this is a team figuring it out. It is a win. Oh my God! And then look at this too. The no holding calls. All the holding that happens on Swinson, and nothing gets called on this guy. I mean, this was mostly a lukewarm performance today from a team you expected to show some kind of dominance tonight, you know? You expected some type of dominance from this team. You expected them to go out there and step on the throat, show some swagger, and they showed that. Here's the thing. They showed some absolute attitude at times. They went out there, made some plays, kicked some ass, took some names, created some more turnovers, which I love to see them doing that. It sucks the Greg Penn III strip sack. I mean, sorry, not strip sack, strip. And the recovery, I can't remember who had the recovery. I think it may have been Harold Perkins. That was taken off the board. That sucked. You saw LSU's front generate a ton of pressure again. Running the football, I don't think we allowed negative 14 yards rushing through that first half for UCLA, and they rushed for 14 yards from 22 carries in total on the game. They did have a run of 17 yards, a run of 13 yards, and another run of 13 yards. So they had 3 different runs over 10 yards on us, though. Passing-wise, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At least 9 catches over 11 yards on us. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of these go for over 20 yards. UCLA threw for at least 9 catches of over 11 yards on LSU secondary tonight. That was really revealing for me how bad the secondary was. And, you know, people can say, Sage Ryan needs to get off the field. He barely even played tonight. You can't blame Sage Ryan tonight for what happened. Ashton Stamps got beat tonight on many a play. He's going to figure it out. He's not the finished article yet. This is basically his freshman year, if you really think about it. How much did he really play last year? He was thrown into the fire at Alabama, at A&M, thrown completely into the fire at Wisconsin. And he played, but he didn't play much. And high-quality snaps. And he's had high-quality snaps this year. His pass breakup going into the end zone last game changed the game, prevented 4 points from going on the board for LSU. Shutting down South Carolina, holding them to a field goal in a play that was end zone bound, one-on-one coverage. He makes the beautiful swat. So I'm not trying to call out a guy as, that's the context of Ashton Stamps this year. He's had some plays where he's showing you the type of dude he's going to be, which I think is a future cornerback 1, cornerback 2 stud for LSU's defense, for DBU. Corey Raymond's secondary. But he's also shown his youth, his inexperience. He's been beaten for some easy plays, easy routes. And Ashton Stamps, really, it's hard to even bring him up because Major Burns is the main culprit here. Major Burns is, what is he doing being set up in man coverage on the outside, in the nickel position? Why would they continue putting him in the star position? All they have to do is motion a guy over there or line a guy up in the side he's on, and he's going to have to cover him. And Baker's going to have to be obliged to let him cover him, or they're going to have a linebacker cover or a safety cover. And you have Burns cover, and it's even worse. But it was a very lukewarm. I mean, this was a game where LSU luckily pull off yet another, second half turnaround performance after being ghastly in a first half. After another terrible slow start, another first half where we receive from the kickoff on the coin toss, and so we lose a possession, and we lose another possession in the first half. I mean, sorry. Oh my God, this toy that he has is driving me nuts. Sage, can you have him turn that? Yeah. Hopefully, Chelsea can get that toy turned down. Let me see it. Yeah. That recycling thing is loud as hell. Eat your burrito. I mean, this is another time where we get a possession stolen from us by the coin toss. You could literally say 2 possessions stolen from us. Except this is the first time all season LSU have scored off their first drive, opening drive. It was a beautifully orchestrated drive where we got us in rhythm and we finished it off. Josh Williams, I believe, right? Finished it off on the rushing touchdown. Wasn't that how we scored the first touchdown there? How did we score that first touchdown? Or no, it was the Xavier Thomas rushing. Yes. It was the Xavier Thomas run, the beautiful sweep play that we called for Xavier Thomas. That was how we scored on that opening play. Okay. Opening touchdown. This was a beautiful dime from Nuss to Kyle Parker for his first ever LSU touchdown. You thought he was going to just get tackled right there. And he's like, no, I want a touchdown, baby. Like, I love it. And people are all trying to say, what's Kelly doing freaking out at him after the play? Kelly was probably hyping him up, pumping him up, showing how relatable he is to the youth of America. I just think it's so stupid how everyone turns everything with Brian Kelly into something that it's obviously not. It's ridiculous. In the second half, LSU, they put down a mild clamp down. They had the shutout. They got the win after elevating the offense. The offensive performance went up. They created a few turnovers. The All-American play of Swinson. Of course, Garrett Nussmeier going off for another 300-yard game. Over 30 completions tonight. Ridiculous from Nussmeier. 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Another very clean game from him. He was sick. Aaron Anderson was brilliant tonight too. Aaron Anderson, what did he end up with? Aaron Anderson had 6 catches for 75 yards. 6 catches for 75 yards for Aaron Anderson. Incredible from Aaron Anderson tonight. Mason Taylor, 8 catches, 77 yards. Monstrous from him. And then, of course, C.J. Daniels, 6 catches, 56 yards. Every time Daniels would make that catch and make that move, he would get tackled on the solo. He would never be able to break the tackle. And he'd always be slamming the field. It was very interesting. He could never break the tackle on those out routes. He's catching it and he's trying to turn it upfield. Gets tripped up every time. Could not break the tackle. Once that guy breaks those tackles, he's going for 100 yards here. LSU could not get a 100-yard receiver or a 100-yard rusher for the 4th straight game this season. Still, Josh Williams rushed for 62 yards, 13 attempts. He looked good every time he ran the ball, except for some of these just nowhere rushes where it's like, here, get the ball for a yard. I don't understand. I really don't understand some of those play calls. Make no sense type of play calls where it's just, what are you doing? That's a waste of a play. I don't understand some of these play calls where they just, a shotgun dive. Everyone knows what you're doing. Spread them out. do something, innovative here. Do something a little, I don't know how to explain it. Just do something different than just an obvious. It's so telegraphed. It is so telegraphed. And putting in the personnel that you do, where an obvious running situation, you have Josh Williams in the game. Ooh, what are they going to do? I wonder. You finally saw some brilliant variety with Caleb Jackson coming in. He is getting some involved in the receiving game. Caleb Jackson was getting involved in the rushing game. He had six rushes, 26 yards, which still not good, still not where we want Caleb Jackson to be. But then 3 catches, 23 yards as well, and showed some awesome kind of plays that you felt harken back to what Caleb did last year, where he's trucking over people. Hopefully, that is a sign for the better, where Caleb Jackson is going to be a monster for LSU. But you saw stuff like this where Kyron Lacy had moments to be huge for LSU, where take that next step, and instead he's dropping passes again, wide open passes like this one right here. And we've shown it a few times this season, and it continues. And it's because he sees that guy coming up to pop him. And it's like, that dude's nowhere near you, Kyron. Like, you can even stop on a dime, make that catch, and turn it back up that way. Kyron Lacy's so good after the catch. It's inexcusable that he's dropping passes because he's worrying about making that next move. And you got to give love to Aaron Anderson because of the way that he's done this. He's making so many big plays for LSU, so many tough catches. He's making plays, Aaron Anderson, that you didn't expect him to make. You expected Kyron Lacy to make those plays, and then Aaron Anderson kind of makes the flashy plays. But instead, Kyron Lacy is dropping passes. He's still scoring touchdowns. He's still making big plays for LSU. Kyron Lacy only had 3 catches, though, for 23 yards. I believe he does have 5 touchdowns on the season, so quality numbers. He hasn't had a 100-yard game, though, yet. He hasn't had that big-time breakout moment, that game where it's like, okay, this is the time where he's taken the season over by the balls. I still haven't seen him play like a wide receiver 1 yet this year. I have to say it. I haven't. And I know that sounds harsh. Maybe it's harsh. Maybe it's harsh by me to say that I haven't seen him play like a wide receiver 1 yet all season, but I don't feel I have. I feel like Aaron Anderson's been that wide receiver 1, really, of anybody. He was 4 yards away from a 100-yard game, 96 yards last week, pretty much a 100-yard game. He hasn't needed to score touchdowns to be effective. He's pretty much put LSU inside the red zone every time, and he hasn't been given many opportunities to score touchdowns. I believe he still has 1 or 2, though. At least 1. Caden Durham had that 35-yard touchdown catch that blew the game wide open. Big play in this game. Xavion Thomas barely gets touches, only 3 targets. 3 targets, 4 yards, scores a touchdown with that jet sweep thing. Very interesting play. I love the play design. Garrett Nussmeier, 32 completions, 44 attempts, 352 yards, 3 touchdowns, 73% completion rating, 162.4 rating. LSU were 10 of 15 on third down tonight. 10 of 15 on third down tonight. Love that number. Garrett Nussmeier leads LSU to 10 of 15 on third down tonight. That is a beautiful number that will make me feel a lot better about this game going forward. Is that number right there. 34 to 17. That doesn't make me feel that good. Seeing LSU go 10 of 15 on third down. Nuss slinging it for 32 of 44. 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. He only had that one pass where it was like, no, don't do that again. Where he's trailing off his back foot and the play's broken down. And he just kind of hucks it up there. He did it again tonight, or sorry, today. He did it again today, and I couldn't stand that to see that again. But there it was. Garrett is so much better than to huck that up there like Brett Favre, But UCLA were working us, and they worked us really all game. Even though we had some plays, had some moments on defense. Of course, in the second half, Braden Swinson took the game over. It's just what we're seeing in the secondary is atrocious. It's atrocious. Absolute bust after bust after bust after bust from LSU's defense. What did you all think of that game? Do the thing that really gets to me as well is Emory Jones goes out and he comes back out for the rest of the game after being out for a bit. But you never want to see him hurt. How versatile he is. He can play like 2, maybe even 3 different positions for you on the offensive line. I venture to say Emory Jones could play 4 different positions for you on the offensive line. Zy Alexander as well going into the medical tent, and I don't think he came back either. So, LSU still allowing, Ethan Garbers to really just light us up for quite a lot of this game. And I don't even think anyone in our secondary had a pass breakup tonight. I think the only pass breakup tonight was from Deshaun Womack having a batted pass on the line of scrimmage. Oh, Major Burns had a pass breakup. Oh, JVR Suggs also had one. I didn't see that. So still just one player from the secondary, Major Burns, of all people, had the pass breakup. LSU locked into a 17-17 battle with UCLA at halftime. So strange. So bizarre to see. It's just this team are going to be tough to watch at times, but I think it's going to be rewarding in the end. I think there's going to be games where you're going to see this team elevate and take it over to the next level. But is it possible though? I can say stuff like that. This team is another gear. I can say stuff like, this team's going to figure it out here. This team's going to do that. I haven't seen evidence of it. So, you've seen individuals step up. That's what you've seen. You've seen individuals step up in big moments for LSU this season. And that's what you've seen the last few seasons at LSU, really, is individuals stepping up in big moments. And that is what has gotten LSU through. And that is what really needs to be worrying about LSU under Brian Kelly. Is it just the roster not being in shape where, as a squad, you don't have that togetherness and that look of a team that actually has developed together in the foxhole? You know what I'm saying? And I think there's no reason this team should not have that identity. So many of these guys have been there for so long together. Sage, Want some burrito? Have some burrito. Say, you want your track? Track? Get your track. We're gonna move all the stuff out. Toys everywhere. You know, can LSU beat Ole Miss? Can LSU take down Alabama with Kalen DeBoer? Can LSU, challenge for the SEC? It's so tough to know the answer to these questions because, yes, you could say, oh, no, LSU look like shit because they played like shit against this team and this team and this team. You've also seen some really strange performances where some supposedly great teams have also looked like shit too. And so it's all over the map in college football right now. USC beat LSU and looked good doing it. Michigan looked like they're just going to be nowhere this season. And then Michigan were beating USC last time I saw. Let's take a look at how that game ended. Oh, of course, with Cam Rising ruled out versus Oklahoma State, of course. Let's see what happened. Utah just barely beat Oklahoma State 22-19. Thank God for them. Michigan beat USC 27-24. Oh my God. See what I'm trying to say here? Like, it's not like indicative of like, oh, of course you could, now Michigan could beat LSU, right? Because they beat USC and USC beat LSU. That's not how college football's ever worked out. It's matchup to matchup to matchup, each unique matchup, two teams, one field. LSU versus Michigan would have a different outcome. That would have nothing to do with any of the outcomes before. It's stupid to play that game. This is an LSU team that have to, live and die basically by Garrett Nussmeier. They have to keep this young man upright at all costs, no matter what. Keep Garrett Nussmeier from getting hurt. Keep him from getting hit. Protect this young man from getting any type of injury or any type of absence. Because really, without Garrett Nussmeier slinging it back there, making these beautiful throws, Joe Sloan and Todd Fitch really helping to develop him, take him to the next level. I don't know where LSU would be right now this season without Garrett Nussmeier. I have no clue where LSU would probably have one win right now without Garrett Nussmeier. And I wonder if LSU have the skill position guys there because we just haven't seen the explosive plays enough. Kyle Parker had that 45-yard touchdown. Caden Durham had a 35-yard touchdown catch. You've seen it here and there and here and there, but we're not seeing it enough. LSU should be doing that from wire to wire against a team like UCLA. But really, the offense, as disturbing as it is, red zone failures, this and this and that, some of which got cleaned up today. You saw a lot more efficiency in the red zone. There's the defense and the lack of any type of coverage and the constant coverage busts worry me far more greatly than anything the LSU offense did tonight. Like, holy crap. We were just letting guys walk open. I mean, I've seen some bad coverage before at LSU, especially the last few seasons. But this was everybody. This wasn't just one guy. Whit Weeks made a horrible play where this guy walked right past him. Ashton Stamps got picked on at times. Major Burns was picked on the entire night, just as he has been the entire last few seasons. It just, the list goes on and on and on. Jordan Gilbert had the interception, but he sure didn't look good for a few other plays. And I know PFF, grades will maybe tell us different about this guy or different about that guy. The eye test is really the ultimate grade here. We'll watch the game again. We'll go through it again. And that's why I'm trying not to be, harsh on maybe what we saw, because I didn't see a lack of effort like I felt I saw against Nichols. But I saw a team that maybe they're just not as good as I thought. Maybe they're not that good. Maybe this team isn't ready to take that next step, challenge for the SEC this season. Maybe that's just a year away, and that's okay. That's the stage this program might be at, and I'm fine with that, because I believe that Brian Kelly's putting the right pieces together for something here. Whether people are impatient or have the stomach for it or not, I don't really care, because they'll be there celebrating the championship when it comes anyway. So those people, I don't really pay attention to people, fair weather. My concern is the fact that there's been a lot of really diehard LSU faithful who I'm sensing don't believe in what this coaching staff are doing anymore. And I feel that is a little early, a little premature. And I feel not really in the right direction. I feel like this staff is actually taking us in that right direction. I feel like this staff is actually, elevating this team from where they would be with, say, Coach Ed Orgeron, or say a myriad of other coaches or coaching staffs at LSU. You've seen some great coaches come to LSU with high pedigree, this and that, and absolutely, utterly fail. And you've seen Brian Kelly put the pieces together for something that should be great at LSU. And so when it isn't great, okay, we understand you're not going to be perfect every time, and it's not going to be 55 to 6 every time, or whatever we predicted. But this is a team you should have absolutely clubbed and drubbed from first quarter to last. And instead, LSU really kind of pissed and kind of shit their pants in parts of this game. Defensively, they're getting destroyed coverage-wise without the brilliant pass rush that we had, where Gio Paez gets a quarterback hit, JVR Suggs gets a quarterback hit and a sack. You've got Bauman and McKinley getting a sack. You got Braden Swinson with 2 sacks and a quarterback hit. You got 2 quarterback hits and a half sack from Savion Jones. You've got all this pressure coming up at him. We'll see what we got from Pro Football Focus in a few hours here. Probably they'll be updated. But the pressure was incredible from LSU's front once again. But yet didn't feel like the secondary had whatsoever any grasp on what they were doing against UCLA. They were burnt and turnt and just exposed left, right, and center on every passing play from Ethan Garbers. Look at this: 22 of 36, 281, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. How many yards? 6 yards, 28 yards, 6 yards, 13 yards, 20 yards, 29, 11, 12, 16 yards, 32 yards. He went for 6 straight completions against our defense. 6 straight completions against our defense. Unacceptable. And then look at that. 3rd and 11. What does he get? 11 yards. Boom. It's just incredible. And a touchdown, I might add. The pick by Gilbert also came on a 3rd down, though. That's good news. That's a good play right there. And then look at that. LSU kind of put the clamp down. Okay. We put the clamp down, but still, you got another string of 4 straight completions. 1 of 23, 1 of 8, 1 of 12, another of 11, another of 7, another of 16. Like, it's a couple of the sacks also came on third downs. Thank God. Thank God Braden Swinson took the football away once again for the second straight game. Without these takeaways and really the Swinson takeaway, it doesn't really today LSU maybe have more trouble. I mean, it's crazy. Only 5 penalties today, below our average. UCLA had 9. We only had 5 penalties. That's fantastic news. That's good news. I love the second half shutout, but only 17 points in each half. No more than 10 points in a quarter, just 17 points. I mean, this is UCLA we're playing here, guys. And Garrett Nussmeier really went off. 352, 3 touchdowns, but it didn't feel like the offense as a whole did, What you doing, buddy, huh? What you doing? He's like, I'm running around. Is Seiji out back? He's in the backyard. Right here. Don't worry. It's not just me here, so. We got some comments here. Chris Milder says Major Burns got to get off the field. Man, I don't understand it. I do not understand it. And you know what? I gotta get bloody right now. I'm gonna get bloody. Why in the fuck is Major Burns on the field? He allowed 6 passing touchdowns last season. 6 passing touchdowns against him in covers last season. 6. More than any other Tiger, okay? And the plan was we'll do whatever it takes to not get him in coverage. We'll bring him close to the line of scrimmage. And it sounded all okay. Yeah. And it like he would explain to you exactly what we're going to do in a press conference. But this star position, and everyone said, you don't know more than the coach's lawn. Shut up. You don't know more than the coach's lawn. Shut up. I think I'm going to take a guy who's paid millions of dollars and is hired by Brian Kelly over your opinion, you idiot. Major Burns is going to be a great star. I literally have the. Let's pull up the freaking post. Let's pull up the post. How can we find this thing? It was just like people, freaking out, saying, "Oh, no way!" How could you? How could you report that he was moving to star? Blah 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 blah. So how could you say that you know more than the coaches and he shouldn't play star and that he should play star, I should say, and not play linebacker? Of course, Harold's going to be a great linebacker, and you don't know what you're talking about. And of course, the coaches know more than you. And who do you think you are? And how dare you? And it's like, A, I'm not even telling the coaches what to do. B, I'm just giving my opinion like anybody else who's in the job that I do. But look at what has happened. Look at what has happened, and you can't tell me that we were not right. We were absolutely 100% correct on this. Not only should Harold Perkins played the star position to start the season, but Major Burns should not be on the field whatsoever. Like, Major Burns should not be on the field playing safety, because look at what's happening. Whether he's playing safety, whether he's playing like it doesn't matter. He's getting shredded. And so I thought making Harold Perkins play star while you start with Weeks again, finally. Having those two guys on the field would, in effect, move Major Burns off the field, right? Well, Brian Kelly, who called Major Burns one of our most consistent players this season, this week in a press conference, which I just thought was ridiculous for him to say. You think Major Burns is one of your most consistent players? Are you serious, Kelly? Like, I was kind of like taken aback by that. You saw Major Burns once again get shredded for a touchdown again. I'm not sure how many that is this season, but it's at least a couple. And I don't know why Brian Kelly continues to play certain players over. We haven't seen Kylan Jackson at all. We saw Deshaun Spears being given some opportunities. He had some bad missed tackles. He had a few poor plays in coverage. He did not look too promising, but it's just one game. And I think you should still keep playing him out there and still keep riding with him because he's going to ebb and flow as a true freshman. But what you saw from the secondary was so troubling, and it's because you continue to tinker and screw around and dick around with this, putting Major Burns no matter what on the field. And guess what they're going to do if he's on the field in a secondary position? No matter if it's specialized or hybrid or whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter. If he's back there, they're going to motion someone over in his face and make him cover. They're going to make him cover. They're going to put someone on him, and he is cooked. Before the ball's even snapped, he's cooked. Is that one of your shoes? Sadie. Mike Prima says, I think our defense is finally improving. Yeah, I fell into that trap too. I fell into the trap too. I thought our defense was figuring it out, even with, I just felt like our defense, you've had a game where you played not a perfect performance, I shouldn't say that, but like you played a perfect 3.5 quarters compared to what we thought we would see against USC. You saw a pretty strong performance tackling-wise on third down, stopping the run, minimizing some of the explosive plays, minimizing the points. You saw it against USC. And then you took the havoc we created and the turnovers that we created against South Carolina, and you combine that with some of the resilience in the second half and some of the plays that we made against Nichols, and you put all those together and you give LSU, finally a complete showing on defense. Finally give LSU a complete showing on defense for once this season. Did we see it? I don't think so. You know why? Yes, LSU kept UCLA under 20 points. Yes, LSU were fantastic up front once again. LSU were dominant in stopping the run. LSU were piss poor in pass coverage. LSU actually got embarrassed defending the passing game against Ethan Garbers tonight. And the tackling is terrible. And oh my God, Paul Tarver took it right out of my mouth. I'll just read your comments because I think that's basically what you're probably going to say. Paul Tarver says, since serious tackling in practice is not permitted, yep. How about getting Ryan Clark in for a video clinic teaching open field tackling the right way? He and Troy Polamalu in Pittsburgh were masters. Palomano? It's Polamalu, bro. Yeah. Ryan Clark was a fantastic open field tackler at safety, brother. That's a great point. They don't do tackling practice. They don't practice tackling much at all in fall camp, let alone spring. There's just nothing. They just have guys kind of run up there and just kind of stick their arms out and kind of make contact. How can you do it and then expect? How can you do that when you're not even tackling, doing practice of the tackling, and expect guys to flip that switch when the game kicks off? That's insanity. That is insanity. And now because of it, you see guys like Harold Perkins getting hurt 4 games into the season on a tackle. You see just atrocious missed tackling all over the place. Even from guys you wouldn't expect to see it from, guys that it's surprising to see it from, And that, I think, is another – it's the tackling, it's the coverage busts, it's these random run fits where you're just allowing 20, 30 yards on a run out of nowhere, where you've been dominant and stopping the run all game. Suddenly they go off for 30 yards. It makes no sense. Seriously, I don't understand the lack of tackling practice. It makes no sense. It boggles the absolute mind. It boggles the mind. Is anybody else stunned? Like absolutely stunned by just how many injuries LSU have had to key people? I mean, I just thought everybody knew it. Palomalu. I mean, he's quite a famous guy. Palomanu doesn't really sound like Palomalu. I'm not trying to hurt feelings or piss anybody off. I was just kind of like, what? It just doesn't sound like anything like it. My bad. I just don't understand how LSU year after year after year have so many injuries and so many key big time injuries, to guys that LSU just cannot lose, cannot go without. I'm surprised Garrett Nussmeier's even made it this far through the season. It's just this season has a sense of foreboding a bit, guys. I'm not gonna lie about it. It has a sense of just like what type of long, weird, crazy ride is this gonna be? You know. What the hell is this going to entail? Anyway, if anybody has any more things they want to say, any more comments, hit us up. Come here. We're going to take our son on a long, crazy, weird walk. We're going to write our article about this game, kind of expand on some of the thoughts here. New thoughts as we see this game in a different light, watch it again, marinate, you know, see what really happened tonight. TCU had allowed 41 points to SMU in the first half. It's ridiculous. Let's see what it is now. 28-59. Jesus. Jack Besh, 7 catches, 151 yards, 1 touchdown. They finally throw it to the motherfucker, and look what he's doing. He's actually getting them back in the game, but it's probably too late. I mean, my God. Jack Besh goes off again. What a freak. Jack Besh has already had 3 100-yard games and a 200-yard game, and LSU's receivers are dropping third down passes. Only Aaron Anderson has really shown out at receiver this season, guys. You know, 56-yard games, 60 yards here, it's not going to cut it. You need someone to show out and dominate and take over. There's no one out there lining up that strikes fear into the heart of defensive backs for LSU either. So we have an issue on both sides of the ball in a way. Offense, obviously, I'm least worried about. Defense, there's still some issues in coverage that are just shocking. But they've improved. And what I love about Blake Baker's defense is that no matter what, they will always create turnovers. No matter how bad they are or no matter how good they are, they're always a defense that creates turnovers. And we've created more turnovers in the first 4 games than I feel like we did all of last season combined. You know, right? It feels like it. I guarantee I can find the stat to prove that. So everybody, have a good rest of your Saturday night. We are going to write this article. Check it out on LSUODYSSEY.com. LSU win 34-17. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Paul, don't take it personally. I was correcting you on the Palomalu thing. Who gives a shit? You know, I mean, it was just a joke. I mean, it's not really a big deal. You know, I really don't care that much. I'm just making it up. Oh, whoa, Palomanu. What the? That's quite a difference. But either way, everybody, have a good one. LSU at least get the win. Moving on to play Southern Alabama next. We will see what the news is of Harold Perkins' injury, Zy Alexander's injury. Hopefully Emory Jones is all good, 100% as well. And maybe keep him out of this game against Southern Alabama if you can. Make sure he's 100% for the long haul. Either way, everybody, LSUODYSSEY.com signing off. Definitely go on to LSUODYSSEY.com tonight. Check out the articles that have come before and the one that is coming tonight as well. We'll probably have it done by like 11 p.m. or something like we usually do. So get ready for that if you want to tonight or in the morning or whenever the hell you want to. It'll be there for you. Thank you very much, everybody.